You know what time it is. Bang, we're back again, people. Another episode of Parlay Madness, episode 20. We took a little hiatus, but now we're back for the Aspinall versus Curtis Blades card. It's back in my home country of London. You know, I'm not there right now. I'm on the road, politicking, shaking hands, doing a few things, but it is in my home country, so I felt like I needed to come back for this one. I got my man JB in the cut with me, ready to go. How you feeling about this card, brother?
Yeah, I like this one. I usually tend to typically I like the London cards. It's a different type of crowd out there, you know what I mean? It's not the same as the American crowds get into the fights, but in England it's just a different vibe. And the fights are like in the morning. You know, people are going to be drunk. There's going to be crazy stuff. There'll probably be fights in the crowd that are better than the fights in the octagon. But I'm interested in some of the betting spots as well, and I'm excited to do this, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know that, bro. You know, us English are known for fighting. It is what it is. Got a couple English on the card. The best fighter in the world is English. He's headlining the bill. We're going to speak about him a little bit later. And I want to do a little announcement for anybody watching. So I'm changing up the format of the show a little bit. We're no longer going to be giving out 7, 8 parlays as we usually do. The new format we're going to be doing is going through every single fight as we usually do, breaking down every single fight as we usually do, giving out parlay pieces, potential parlay pieces for every single fight as we usually do. But at the end, we ain't going to be making 7, 8 different parlays. We're just going to be making one parlay each. There's many reasons I'm doing that. I'm not going to go into every single one, but the main reasons is that I already have long shot parlays on my website, right? And I felt like having long shot parlays on the YouTube and on the website, they was conflicting. For example, if a long shot parlay on the YouTube would hit, but the members that are on my website who are paying for the parlays, if the parlays on the website didn't hit, some of them will message me, be a little bit angry. Oh, you know, the parlay on the live stream, the free parlay hit, but the paid parlay didn't hit. You know, that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that it was impacting the parlays I can make a little bit on the stream if I had already made them on the website. And if I had already made them on the stream, it was impacting them what I can make them on the website. Now, the parlays I give out on the website, I give out free every single week, right? Free long shot parlays. They're crushing it even way more than the stream, right? So I've only started this year just like I have for this stream. And we're up 88 units on my website for long shot parlays with 117% ROI. So numbers that are basically, you would think I'm faking the numbers, right? 117% ROI and 88 units if we're betting 1 unit flat stake on the long shot parlays, right? Which I don't do, but just for ease of understanding how much they're up. As opposed to the Parlay Madness units, we're up 38 units with a 28% ROI. So very successful. It's been very successful. But yeah, for those reasons, I want to stop it. And also with the long shot parlays, there's going to be weeks where like 3 or 4, 5 weeks in a row, we might not hit a parlay. And for people coming to the stream, they get annoyed at that. They get frustrated at that. And at the end of the day, I'm putting out content. I'm not only showing you exactly how I bet. Putting out content is a little bit different, right? I have to understand that people can't really a lot of people, they don't handle downswings well. And people want to win more often, even if they win less. And that's something I've learned this year. So this is just, you know, this is a little bit of a change of a format. Nothing crazy. I'm still giving out all of the information. But at the end, instead of making 7 parlays, we're going to make 1. So that's it. 20th episode of the show. We're still in the early stages of the show. I'm still learning as I go. So I think you're still going to like the live stream. But little announcement, that's what we're going to be doing for the Parlay Madness moving forward. So yeah, man, let's get straight into the card. First fight of the night. JB, how you want to do this? Can you call up the fights?
So I'm seeing a few different orders this week, but I'll just use what Tapology has for the fights. And yeah, I could call it. I believe the first fight of the night's Bannon versus Adelene, but I am not going to speak out of turn. All right, 304 UFC 304 in Manchester. First fight of the night on the prelims is Shauna Bannon 5-1 versus Elise Adelene 9-5. Take this one, my man.
Okay, bro. And one thing before we start, I didn't shout at anyone, But shout out every motherfucker in the chat because, you know, I love all you motherfuckers. I see people talking a bunch of stuff. Like so many funny comments right here. So I love every single one of you, bro. I appreciate you being on the stream. And hopefully I'm going to make you money this week as I try to do every single week. So I just had to get that out of the way before we get into it because, you know, I love the chat. I love the people. So Shauna Bannon versus Adelene, bro. Honestly, I ain't got too much to say about this. One thing I will say is that both girls are very low level. In my opinion, you know, not even in my opinion, but in my experience, betting on low-level fights or just watching low-level fights, the lower the level, the higher the volatility. So the lower the level, the more likely someone gets caught in a one-armed rear naked choke, which we would basically never see happen outside of that Randy Brown, Alex Oliveira fight, right? It's very unlikely to happen at a higher level. These random shit happens when it gets lower level. So when it's super low level, you always look at the underdog. You always look at the plus money total, whether it's an over or under, for the most part, just because weird shit can happen when it's lower level and it's harder to cap, even for the books and even for the market. So the market might heavily be, you know, pushing one fighter as a favorite, but actually it's kind of hard to be confident on any side when the level is so low. And I do think this is a very, very low level fight. You know, I think that Bannon is a better fighter overall. I think she's more dedicated to fighting. The other chick seems like more of an OnlyFans girl from what I can see. She hasn't fought any level of competition really outside of like 6 years ago. I think the last time she fought a fighter who was decent, current champ in the division as well, which is kind of interesting. I side with Bannon here. I would never play Bannon as a favorite. I thought that we may get some decent odds because Adelene is really bad, but because Bannon is really bad, sorry, but we're not. So yeah, I side with Bannon. I also think she can get a finish here. Adelene is coming in on short notice. I don't think she's massively dedicated to the sport of MMA. She's probably dedicated to the sport of OnlyFans a little bit more. From what it seems like, she's getting called up to the UFC. She hasn't been training for the UFC, you know, for a long time. Is she going to gas out short notice? I think that's very, very possible. And, you know, Bannon, she will push the pace if her opponent is gassed. So I could definitely see a finish materializing here. I also think Bannon is shit enough to get finished. So when you're seeing the plus number under at like plus 180, plus 170s, I don't think that's a terrible way to look at, going back to how I said the volatility is higher in these lower level fights. So not a massive read on the stylistics of the fight, because I think both fighters are kind of shit, but you know, I would lean at the plus money on both sides, to be honest. But I am going to go with Bannon to get a win.
Yeah, bro. I think I side with Bannon here too as well. Like just the experience and the cardio factor. I think on short notice, every time we've seen this girl fight past, you know, she's gone around 3 a few times and got finishes, but it's versus the lowest level of competition. She's fighting absolute cans. So how much can I take away from that skill set? She seems to come forward, though, on the feet. She has a very aggressive style. She throws power punches. I'll say for a 115-pounder, she's a little bit more powerful than the average with her strikes on the feet. Bannon's more karate style, side kicks. She's going to try and score points on the outside, keep the range, avoid that damage. And I think Adelene may have success early here, to be honest. Just with raw aggression, you know, pushing Bannon back. But I think eventually when the fight goes longer, I think the experience of Bannon and possibly even if she uses the grappling, we've seen this girl outed in the grappling. She was submitted by Diana Belbita. She's went to unanimous decisions a few times with girls that are no name. And, you know, Bannon was just competing in the MMA, I believe is the Worlds. I don't know exactly maybe it was IBJJF Worlds. And she has a few grappling matches as well. So I think that could possibly be an advantage for her late in the fight, especially if Adelene gasses short notice, debut. And generally, I think at women's 115, we don't see finishes often, but the line is reflecting that there's likely a little bit more likely in this fight that there's a possible finish. So I take note of that. And that's kind of how I feel about the fight at this point, man. It's a low-level fight, just like you said, WMMA. I'm not going to go crazy about it. But I tend to agree with you. There's a lot of volatility here that would make my eyes open to look at an under here.
Okay, so in terms of the plus EV legs for the parlay stuff, I don't think I'd put anything here in a parlay, if I was making a parlay. But like I said, I think Bannon's the side money line most likely. I think an under, is not too bad, considering the price, or a DGTD maybe even better, considering we're talking about a cardio narrative. Like, one thing to note is that when you're betting on a fight to be finished based on the cardio, most of the time you should be betting the doesn't go to decision rather than the under 2.5 rounds, because that 2.5 rounds that 2.5 minutes, which you get extra if you bet the DGTD, that can be very beneficial if you're hoping a fight is going to gas out. I remember Marc-Andre Barrial fought Abu Azaitar, and I knew a few people on the under, very, very sharp bet. But it didn't go under 2.5 rounds, but it did finish inside the distance. It finished with about a minute to go or something. And I knew people who had big money on the under 2.5 rounds. And they did it because it was based on Azaitar's cardio and Barriot's pressure. And they lost out. So, it's just a word of warning. I often play the under because I can get more money down on the under for the most part. So it's easier for me to play the under. But I always try to play the DGTD if I'm talking about a cardio narrative. Not all the time, but I do. So, I'm going to add in a DGTD to my potential parlay legs. But would I play a plus 170 in a parlay? Maybe, because it's parlay madness. But, but in general, I usually wouldn't. And I'll add Bannon money line. And I'll also add Bannon submission, because Bannon submission is like...
Yeah, wouldn't you think if it's a sub, though, for Bannon? Like, I think Adelene has success early. I think if Bannon's going to get a sub here, I think later in the fight. But like you said, it's a lot of volatility and meme stuff. We've seen meme arm bars in WMMA.
No, I agree. I think it comes later, like Bannon 2-3, Bannon sub. Like, there's a bunch of shit that we're calling out right now.
Yeah.
I like it all, to be honest, man. So I'm going to write them down, and we'll see how we are as we go.
Fair enough.
I can't bring it up on screen, boys, but... right now, I'm in the US of A. JB, I'm in your manor, bro. You meant to come to Vegas. What happened, bro?
We're
meant to do a full live stream, but you guys can throw hate at my man JB right now, because I was in Vegas waiting. I was in Vegas for a month. I bucked my Narco Cop. I bucked my man Yanni the Greek. Jeremy Kennedy. I was out there, bro. Like, I was in the casinos. I was meeting people that I didn't even make content with, but I was waiting for you, bro. Where was you at? Everyone get onto JB right now, man.
We'll make sure we meet up one day, bro. I promise.
All right, bro. All right. I know Texas and Vegas are not that close. So, I mean, are they close? They're not that close.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But good. I did want to do that live Parlay Madness stream, but maybe one day.
We'll do it, bro. I promise.
All right, we got it.
Yeah,
it's all right, we ain't going anywhere. I know people thought I was going. I know the rumors was coming up. Oh, JB and JB had an argument. They're not doing streams together anymore. Oh, he doesn't want to do Parlay Madness anymore. I know the rumors were coming up. The rumors were circulating, but it's the internet. People don't know what they're talking about. I ain't going anywhere. I'm here to do the stream, and I enjoy doing the stream every week. I've just been traveling, boys. I've been busy. So we're back. What's the second fight of the night, bro?
Okay. Oh, Jesus. All right, second fight of the night. I'm all over now. I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at this. So we have on the second fight of the night, Mick Parkin versus Brzeski, bro. You want me to take this one, or you got it?
Yeah, go on. Let's go one for one.
I like Parkin here. I think he's gonna have a grappling advantage. I know that's kind of square, but it's just obvious to me that I'll say Carl Williams is a good wrestler, but I don't think he has any jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't think he has any career submissions. So once he was to the ground, Brzeski didn't have to worry about that threat. He was just getting held down. I think I've even tried to fade him with Dylan Potter on the Contender Series. People are probably going to call me like the stupidest. It was a dumb bet in hindsight, but I was just watching the guy's film, and he tires out. Yeah, he tires out so bad. I thought maybe this guy Potter, he's just survival. It'll have a chance. And I was wrong, plus 500. I'm not gonna be upset. But it just shows that early on when I watched film on this guy, I didn't have the highest hopes for him. I thought his cardio was bad. Obviously, it's in a different position here as an underdog. We played him as an underdog the last time versus Walter Walker, and it was a close fight. He was able to get the job done. Obviously, Walter's a big dude. closes the distance. He's able to have success early in the grappling. But once again, he doesn't really have the submission threat. So I think Parkin, even if he doesn't get the submissions, his BJJ is good enough here to be on top and float positionally a little bit better than some of the other guys that Brzeski had fought. And like I said, it's just another cardio play for me. I'm going to go with the guy who I've seen fight hard 3. Brzeski, yeah, he fights through it, but he clearly slows down, especially if you're getting put on your back, having to get up multiple times, fighting submission attempts. I think that could be a problem. I think, Parkin's working with good heavyweights as well. I saw him working with Paul Craig, obviously Tom Aspinall, who's fighting later on the card as well. Maybe kind of square, a little chalky. I think Parkin's the side here, though. Hard to play it at this number. And I think he probably gets it. If anything, I'd be looking at Parkin inside the distance or Parkin 2-3.
Yeah, so I think Parkin is the rightful favorite. I think he's going to win a decision. I don't think he's going to finish Brzeski. I know a lot of people like Parkin ITD this week. I've actually listened to a good amount of podcasts. I don't usually do that, but sometimes I do. I like my boy's Narcos podcast. I always give him shout outs and I always watch that. Not always, but I watch that often. My man Clint, I like his podcast. I watch his as well. We might have an announcement coming up. Maybe I'm on Clint's podcast at some point soon. And I speak with the guys in my DMs and they send me some information on fights. And basically, most of these guys are calling the Parkin ITD, right? Obviously, it can happen. I just think that, Parkin's, he's not fucking dangerous, bro. Like, when you watch this guy fight, like, he is not a dangerous fighter at all, to be honest. He didn't really put Kaio in any danger at all. He didn't put Pogues in any danger at all. And Brzeski's got some good get-ups at the end of the day, like, he definitely does have some good get-ups because I've seen him taken down multiple times now. And I've seen him get up multiple times. He won his last fight via getting up. The Carl Williams fight, it wasn't really close, to be honest. But he made Carl gas out in that fight from getting up. So even if Parkin does get on top, I do think he might be able to do better than those guys just because of the jiu-jitsu is better there. I do believe that. I think that's a sharp angle, what you're saying there. Just because he got up against those guys doesn't mean he will against Parkin. But right. Is there a lot of danger factor from Parkin? Look, he's heavyweight. If a fucking fat motherfucking heavyweight gets on top of you, bro, like, that shit is uncomfortable, even if they got no jiu-jitsu. When I was first starting jiu-jitsu, I'll roll with white belts who I'm better than, but they're just so much bigger than me. It's uncomfortable, like, they fucking put their big belly on your face and it's like, get the fuck off me, and that, and you can't even push them off you. So it's not even really about skill set sometimes when it comes to heavyweight grappling, because you could just be a fat motherfucker and just pound them out just from being fat. So I do think it could happen. But yeah, without the risk of carrying on, I think Parkin decision are both decent, to be honest. The Lions gotten away a little bit now, but I still think that, they are the sides. I haven't flipped sides yet, basically. So I'm going to write Parkin money line down. Maybe we can parlay later. I'm going to write Parkin GTD. I like the over 2.5 more than a GTD just because I do think that it's heavyweight. It could get sloppy later in the fight. Usually when it gets sloppy, it means it actually goes rather than doesn't go. But people make mistakes when it gets sloppy as well. And it's one of those ones where it's like, it could be everyone knows this one. Jake Collier versus Huggy Bear, the Chris Barnett, right? Like, Jake was gassed out and Huggy Bear has no jiu-jitsu, but he's just fat as fuck on top of him and literally KO'd him from being fat. Like, that's literally what I was talking about. So that could happen here. That wouldn't have happened in round 1, most likely. It happened in round 2 after Collier was already gassed out. So I like the over 2.5 a little bit more. I guess you like the under 2. Is that what you want to put down or what?
Well, here's the thing. If Parkin's not having the utmost success in the grappling and consistently getting him to the mat, I think this is a little bit close. Like, Brzeski's not the worst striker on the feet. So I personally think Parkin probably gets a finish late. It could be on the ground, I think, via KO or sub, to be honest. I think it's probably late. I could see it going to decision, but then if he's not having the grappling success, like Walter Walker is a good wrestler. Williams is a good wrestler. Like they have good wrestling transitions, but I don't know about the actual BJJ itself. And we might see, something similar later in the night as well in the heavyweight.
Yeah. I personally think that he can get takedowns and still not finish. Like I think he can actually win a grappling based. Whereas like maybe he gets, I think if he's getting 10 minutes of top control, he's finishing. But I think he can get 3 minutes of top control. Maybe 1.5 minutes in 2 rounds and like win 2 rounds based on that. But yeah, man, I'll write those down. You write your legs down, and we'll circle back at the end. What's the next fight, bro?
Yeah, I got to get with the program here. I believe it is Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. I believe this is your go, my man, but should probably be mine.
So, no, it should be mine, and I'm going to tell you why. My guy's asking what these are. I mean, it don't take a genius to figure out what those are, bro. Do you know what those are, JB? Can you tell?
It's a smoke detector.
Yeah, fire alarm. I don't even know. I'm in a hotel room. I'm just guessing it's a fire alarm. Not to be rude, brother, but I mean, it looks like a fire alarm, smells like a fire alarm. It's probably a fire alarm. Smoke detector. So I'll tell you why this should be my goal, because I've literally been betting against and making money against Kiefer Crosby for years and years and years. So I bet Charlie Leary, my guy, Charlie Leary. If anyone knows the name Charlie Leary, put it in the comments and be honest. Because if you know Charlie Leary, you're my guy. Because Charlie Leary was putting it in on the Bellator scene, on the shitty UK Bellator shows from years ago. So I bet on Charlie Leary against Kiefer Crosby as a plus 175 underdog. Now, let me tell you when I bet on this. It was a long time ago, JB. It was back in the day. So it wasn't actually that long. I mean, 2020, right? So 4 years ago, I bet on Charlie Leary. And at the time, Kiefer Crosby was 8-1. Charlie Leary was 16-11, right? And so Kiefer Crosby was a massive favorite. He was minus 250 favorite, 8-1 going against the 16-11. And Kiefer Crosby was like in his prime. He was like 30 years old or 29 or 27 or something at that time. And Charlie Leary was 38, right? I bet on a 38-year-old at 6, whose record was 16-11, going against the 29-year-old 8-1. And the reason I did that is because I didn't rate the 8-1 guy. The 8-1 guy happened to be Kiefer Crosby. Charlie Leary battered him and got a doctor stoppage at the end of round 1. He dropped him about 3 times, battered him as a 16-11 fighter. And then I had a max bet in Kiefer Crosby's next fight against Georgi Karakhanyan at Bellator again. I bet Georgi Karakhanyan at like minus 200, and he submitted him in the first round. So I've literally been betting against this guy from back in the day, and I haven't stopped when he came to the UFC. I had a bet on Kevin Giussette at minus 150 against Kiefer Crosby. Kevin Giussette is a good fighter, by the way, boys. I know a lot about Kevin Giussette. He's city kickboxing out of Auckland, so obviously I got a connection to the gym. I know a lot about him, and you'll be seeing Kevin Giussette in the future. He's actually a decent fighter. Definitely win some more UFC fights. And, I bet against him there again. Am I betting against him here? This is the first time I'm not betting against him. And I'll tell you why. It's because Sam Patterson is minus 500, right? Or minus 400. So I just can't get behind it. But I do think Sam finishes this fight. I think he probably submits him. I'm not going to go into the stylistics. You know the stylistics. It's late in the week. The fights are on in a few hours. You've heard all the breakdowns. It's not a hard fight to break down. Everybody who has broke down this fight for the most part has probably been right. Kiefer's going to come out hard early. He's got some decent boxing hard, but he does gas out. He doesn't have good jiu-jitsu. He's got a teep up the middle. Like, all of this shit is well known, right? I think something that you can gain more from is me telling you that I've been betting against this guy for 5 years against fighters who are not good. Charlie Leary is not that good, right? So I think that he's going to get finished in this one. What about you, JB?
I think this should have been my fight because Sam Patterson got knocked the fuck out by your boy. You already know.
Yeah, you knocked him out.
Put him out clean, bro. I put him out clean, and I bet on myself. You always bet on yourself. So I cashed on Yanel Ash moves, me, quote unquote. And then in the next fight, we had bro, one of the first the first JB special I ever made. It was so close, bro. If Johan Linus's punk ass could have survived just one more fucking round, bro, or if I didn't get so greedy, we'd have cashed a crazy JB special on the second episode. We hit like 2 crazy ones, like a 50-1 that day. But damn, I was that close. But Sam Patterson, I do think he has good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have the best offensive wrestling. Let's just be real. Like, what's this guy's path to get it to the mat? Is he going to, take his back on the feet, like backpack him? I don't necessarily see that. He's going to have to crash the pocket. And when he does, his defense is a huge liability. He's been knocked out back in 2019 when, Kiefer was losing to some of these people, but I still think he's young enough to be getting a little bit better. He has the experience. The debut, short notice, is out of the way. I think Patterson's a winnable fight at this line. I think Kiefer's path is probably round 1, round 2 knockout. Sam Patterson, chin is a liability. Like when he got sparked by Ash moves, it was a power shot right over the top. Seemed like he didn't see it coming. And those are the shots that hit you the worst. And at the end of the day, Kiefer, he's a bit of a, just do or die fighter in round 1. And I think that could be the type of fighter that could have potential. When we see these parlay busters in these events, it's usually, sometimes it's the person outdoes the favorite, but usually it's a big moment, right? It's something that you didn't see expected. Patterson's the better fighter. That's the narrative. But I do agree. He's probably the more well-rounded mixed martial artist, but he has liabilities in the defense that you can never just play this guy at a -500 price tag. There's no way I would ever look at that. He already, fumbled the bag as a -400. So you would have thought people learned the lesson, but I actually see a lot of people parlaying Patterson this week. So I think that could be a little bit of a liability for the books and in the parlay factor. I think sometimes, I think one of the underdogs wins on the prelims. I don't know if it's going to be this one, but if I had to pick one underdog on the prelims that I thought had a chance to win, it's the guy from Ireland. It's not like he's not maybe the home guy, but Sam Patterson already fumbled the bag. Like the UK crowd don't care if Sam Patterson is like the next big thing. He already seen him got sparked, and I think Kiefer Crosby's a fun fighter for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think the fight just finishes. So like the under's obviously juiced. The under 1.5, I don't mind it, honestly. I mean, I think the under 1.5 is probably about 70%. Like, I would say it finishes within the first 7.5 minutes, around 7 out of 10 times, around 70% of the time, which means there was some slight value on it earlier in the week. I think has actually come. Oh no, it's -175. Like I do think there's a little bit of value on that. At the end of the day, people see under 1.5, they see minus, 200s, and they're like, oh no. But it's like at the end of the day, there's no difference to under 1.5 than there is to under 2.5. All you do is you assign a probability to it. That's literally it, right? People are like, I would never bet on under 1.5. I only bet under 2.5s. No, it doesn't matter. I'd bet a fighter to go to the moon just as I would bet a fighter to lose a leg, just as I would bet him to win in round 1. It's all about the odds, right? You just look at the odds. Now, there's no odds big enough for me to bet on those things, right? But if there was, then I would bet on it. It doesn't matter the actual method. If you're not good at betting a specific method, then fair enough, because I'm not that good at betting a fighter to win ITD, but I am good at betting the fight to end ITD. And I know that based on 6 years worth of historic track data. I have spreadsheets telling me all of this information. So that's when I avoid certain bets. I don't just avoid certain bets randomly for no reason, right? So I do think there's a little bit of value on the 1.5 at -175 there. I want to give a little shout out to my man Riffraff. He's thanks for the donation. We're all happy you two are back. Bumped here. Parlays are down to 1 each. Yeah. I will say though, man, don't worry, bro. Like, you're here for the information. We're still giving out a bag of information. The parlay stream had a good run, man. 38 units of profit, like I said, but I can't have them impacting the guys who are actually paying for my service, which is on my website, where we're up 88 units on the parlays, and I don't want that impacted. But you're here for the information. I'm giving out information as I always do. I give out a bag of shit every single week, so we ain't going nowhere, brother. Don't sweat the haters. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes good reads have bad results. Plus, I need me a JB special. We all need me a JB special. The JB special ain't going nowhere. Remember that. JB special ain't going nowhere. Like, we're still doing a parlay at the end. It's up to JB if he wants to keep it a JB.
I'm due for one, man. I think I might already know what it is after talking. So let's see what else we got here.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll write down a little plus EV legs as everyone wants to know.
I think Kiefer Crosby knockout in round 1 is live.
What is it?
Let's look into it.
So do I.
I think it's live. I just, if this fight's going to be a chaos for as long as it is, maybe Patterson tries to wrestle. I just don't think his wrestling is that good. And I don't think he presents power on the feet, in all honesty. Maybe he could dot him up and avoid damage, but I don't think he does a good job at avoiding damage. So that makes, the live underdog situation for me here. So the odds on that are we using Bet Online? Or let me go to fight odds.
Bet Online, it's all good. We'll go in the sharpest market because we're too sharp.
Agree.
We can beat it anyway.
Yeah, right. Dude, it's definitely harder to beat, but it's beatable. Let's look into Patterson versus this. So under 1.5 is -175. I see KO Crosby round 1 at, I'm trying to find it. Oh, plus 650 on Bet Online. It opened plus 1,000 though. So you guys do the searching. It'll be there somewhere. Yeah. It's plus 650 on Bet Online. You probably find it plus 1,000 elsewhere. That should tell you what you need to know.
You'll find it massive somewhere else. I don't mind that. It's not really a parlayable fight, to be honest, boys. Like, I would never parlay Kiefer Crosby. You know what I think about him. Shout out my man Charlie Leary. And I would never parlay Sam Patterson at this line. I think Sam Patterson's the much better fighter, though. I'll just say that. I'm going to write the under 1.5 just in case I want to add that to anything. As I said, I do believe it's plus EV. I'll also add Patterson sub. It's not very nice, but what's the line at the moment? I think Bet Online is going to be disgusting, but just tell me.
I'm on FanDuel now. I see -115, but Bet Online, I'd have to go back.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, bro. They're all the same. I'm not really. Yeah. I think when we first started the stream, like, what bookie should we choose? Who gives a fuck? Like, they're all similar,
right? Like, guys, plus 1,100 on Crosby knockout round 1 on FanDuel. So
yeah, there you go. There you go.
That should tell you what you need to know.
And that's the difference between line shopping, which is what I always say people need to do. People are lazy for that, right? They don't know how to do that,
or they don't have the money on the separate books. They're not prepared for it.
Yeah. You got to be prepared. You have to be prepared. And I've been there as well. And by the way, I'm there every week, right? Like, I'm there every week where it's like, I got to redeposit here, then I have to withdraw here, but I don't want to withdraw from that book right now because there's, this is the book that I can get the most money. It is a bit of a hassle. That's the life of a professional gambler, bruv. That's why you need to get in, be disciplined for 5 years, be fucking plus EV, make big bets. 10 years, I've been betting for 15, and then invest your money elsewhere because the life of a pro gambler is fucking annoying, and that's why I'm getting out the game, and I've been investing for the last 2 years. But that's neither here or there. I've wrote Patterson sub at -115. Take us away for the next one, JB.
Yeah. All right. So it was Manel Kape versus Muhammad Mokaev, which is on the prelims. I don't know why it's on the prelims. This is a rough fight for me, in all honesty. I don't have much to say about it in terms of plus EV legs, so I'm not even going to really waste the people's time. I think Kape has to avoid the grappling. I've seen him put on his back, but I don't know if Muhammad Mokaev has necessarily the control. He could backpack him theoretically, but I just think Kape is smart. He knows that the wrestling is going to be incoming. I think he has a big advantage on the feet as well. But I feel neither strongly that one guy is going to be able to implement their game plan here. I think whatever guy really is able to implement that game plan is going to look like a big favorite, but it's just a little bit risky of a fight for me to get in on, especially with the some of the narratives surrounding it, especially on the Mokaev side. Like, I do think he could grapple here, but I don't know if the UFC is going to re-sign him. That gives me a little bit pause when I'm betting on somebody, because we saw Paddy Pimblett was just re-signed.
What do you mean they won't re-sign him?
Well, this is the last fight on his contract, and usually the UFC likes to lock a guy in before they give him a fight. And,
yeah, true. That's weird.
And he doesn't have they didn't re-sign him. Now all this stuff going on with the weigh-ins, he's on the prelims, not the weigh-ins, but just the interactions between the two. It just gives me a little bit pause when betting this fight personally. Maybe it's conspiracy, but also at the same time, like it's a good point to say like that the UFC would probably re-sign the guy if they had interest, and he's on the last fight of his contract fighting here tomorrow.
The only thing is like the only way that could affect the fight outside of what we.
Well, he could still win, right? But it gives me
only
pause.
be the judges, right?
Right.
So like, there's only two ways you can look at that, and I understand. So in the way that it could affect your capping. So the first way is like the UFC don't think he's going to win, so they've given him a hard matchup. But I never give a shit about that because I think that I'm a better capper than the UFC, right? I'm much better at picking who's going to win a fight than Hunter Campbell. I'm a professional gambler. I've made millions betting on MMA. Of course, I'm much better than him, right? He just makes matchups. He obviously has an invested interest on who's going to win, but he's not as good as, well, he might be similar. It might be similar level because betting on it is a bit different, right? Like betting on something versus actually picking a winner is a little bit different. But basically, I don't care what the UFC think because I'm going to have my opinion anyway, right? Like, if the UFC agree with my opinion, then yeah, swear, great. If they don't, I'm still not going to listen. Oh, the UFC wants him to win, so I'm not going to bet it. No, I don't do that. The other real issue and where it could come into play is the judges. If the UFC want a guy to win, potentially the judges are going to be more favorable to that guy. That's 100% fact, right? Like I did a post about Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett the other day, and the post was basically saying that I rewatched the fight and Paddy does have an argument to win that fight for sure. Because basically after the fight, everyone was saying that, there's no way he won the fight. It was a massive robbery, etc. I had big money on Gordon and Gordon decision. There is a way in which Paddy won the fight, but I don't think he deserved the decision. And the decision could come down to because of who Paddy was, right? It could come down to the UFC wants him to win. The post that I made was basically saying that that's not a guarantee because everyone thinks that was a guarantee. That's definitely not a guarantee. It was a very close fight, but that is an actual, a valid concern, right? Like if the UFC don't want Mokaev to win here and it's a close fight, they could easily give that fight to Kape because the judges want to do what the UFC wants for the most part. I truly believe that. Do they actually get paid and like, I'll give you $10,000 in your bank account? I don't know about that. But they get invited to the UFC every single month, every single week. They get comped rooms in Vegas in the best hotels. They get all of their travel paid for. All of these judges, they get all of this stuff paid for by the UFC, from what I hear. So if they definitely want to go along with what the UFC wants to go along with, you know what I mean? So I do understand that angle of it. Maybe that could be true here. Honestly, I didn't know Mokaev was on his last fight of his contract. So that is something to cap in a little bit, I guess. Me personally, you've probably seen the video I did a couple of days ago. I'm on Mokaev here. I bet him at -110, and I sent him out to all of my members on my website at -110. And now I'm looking at Bet Online and he's -180. So in my opinion, the value is gone, right? The value's gone. We're not playing Mokaev at -180. We don't do it. I sent out the free bet to everybody. The public, people who don't even pay for my website, at Mokaev was like -140. I still think -140 is playable. I would make him around where he is now, like I wouldn't make him -200. It's getting a little bit up there, 66% wise, but I'd make him, 60, in between 60 and 66, which is -200. I'd make him within that range. So, I think -160, -170 is fair. -180 is fair. But I wouldn't be playing him where he is now. So, but I am picking him to win. I think he's going to win a grappling-based decision. I haven't liked from what I've seen from Manel Kape when he does get taken down. I don't think he's very good off his back. He plays jiu-jitsu, and Asakura fucked him up there. Yeah, it was back in the day, kind of. But Mokaev's relentless, man. He's not going to stop, bro. And I think he underperformed in his last fight, and he still won against a very good fighter. Potentially a harder matchup than Kape. So I'm on Mokaev.
No bet for me, bro. Not even gonna lie to you on this one. I don't even see a plus EV leg. I could see actually Mokaev possibly getting a submission.
So could I, yeah.
And I could see him getting knocked out by Kape on the feet is possible as well. So I don't feel strongly. I tend to think the fight goes to decision more often than not. Maybe 70-30 goes to decision but I don't feel strongly about any value on any line here in this fight.
Okay,
probably
bro.
where it should be.
We can pass because I'm not going to add Mokaev minus 180. I'm just not going to do it. So.
I think the lines are where they should be on this fight. That's honestly my read on it.
What else? What's the next fight, bro?
So we have. I think it's Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio, but I'm not sure. Maybe we should just check real quick. I gotta have it up and prepared. You should be yelling at me at this point. Or we need a producer, dude. That's what we need. Preston Parsons versus the Welsh gangster Oban Elliott. This is yours, my man.
I got no read on it, boys. Got no read on it. Don't really know what to say. I think Parsons has a good chance to submit him. He's quite aggressive with his grappling and some submissions, especially early. But if he doesn't get Elliott out of there, maybe it gets interesting. Elliott will last. He will outlast his opponents. I've seen Elliott kind of fucked up on the ground back in Cage Warriors, when I was researching the fight. So could that happen again here? Maybe. I think he's improved since then, though. I most certainly do think he's improved. It's just a close fight, man. Like, it's possible that Parsons goes all out early and kind of fades a little bit later as the fight goes. But it's also possible that he just goes all out and gets his submission. I don't think there's a plus EV leg on this fight. The over-under is basically a pick 'em. I think it should be. The money line is, I don't know where it is right now, but it's been hovering around, not pick 'em, but like, a slight favorite all week. It's going up a little bit now, minus 160. I think at this point, the value maybe start to drift over to the Oban Elliott side. I would make Parsons about minus 135 personally, but I definitely wouldn't bet Oban Elliott plus 135 because there's no value there, right? Minus 135 plus, it's literally, basically exactly where I would line it. It's just that the VIG is causing Parsons to be a bit of a extra favorite. So yeah, I'm not gonna bet on this one.
Yeah, so it's sitting at minus 159. Parsons almost minus 160. I think that's a little bit. Maybe it's closer to accurate, but I actually think Oban Elliott could be a live underdog here. I think Parsons is going to look to grapple early. I think Oban Elliott, if he's able to implement a sprawl and not let Parsons get on top, I think he's going to have success. I also think if he's taken down, I think guys like Matthew Semmelsberger are really willing to play off of their back, not urgent to get back to their feet. I think Elliott will, I think with the people in his corner, they'll let him know that he cannot lose minutes on the ground here. He's going to have to look to get back to the feet. So that could open up some submission opportunities for Parsons. But sometimes I'll see him get up a little bit too high on the back. He had a deep arm triangle also versus Evan Elder and wasn't able to finish it, which makes me wonder, what were the mechanics there that he wasn't able to get it done. I think, Elliott's tough. I don't think he's just going to quit easily. Yes, he's been, I believe he's been submitted before, if I'm not mistaken. He's been outed on the mat. Let me just make sure.
I saw the ground and pound. I think Fleminus was the one who ground and pound him in Cage Warriors.
Right. Okay, so he hasn't been finished by submission. Right.
He might have been somewhere else. I didn't see it. Did he? Have he? I don't think so.
He's got 2 losses. Both were by knockout, so that's interesting. Maybe the ground and pound could be live, but I don't think so. I think Elliott's urgent enough, unless he completely gassed. But I think if Parsons is having that much success, he's probably just going to submit him anyway. And but personally, I think Elliott probably gets back to the feet a little bit more urgently than some of the past opponents. If he doesn't give up the backpack here and get subbed, doesn't give up, really dominant positions in the ground and pound. And the thing people forget is too, it's hard to submit people in 4-ounce gloves unless they're, really tired. People are at this point, and once you get to the UFC, people are good at fighting the hands. They're good at, the defenses, because it's been drilled just constantly, time and time again. And, trying to choke somebody out with a system rather than just hurting them and grabbing their neck is a lot more difficult, especially with the gloves, than people give it credit for. So when you're looking at these submission bets, guys, just keep that in mind. A lot of the times it's cardio based. It's, a guy gets rocked, hurt, he wants to shoot takedowns, he doesn't feel comfortable on the feet. That's a little bit more often, because honestly, the submission bets become a little bit popular, especially as of lately. People love them submission bets. I love me a submission bet too, guys, but not just going to take every single time. I think this fight could go the distance as well. I think both guys are pretty durable. I know Elliott's been finished twice via punches, but I don't think Parsons is going to knock him out on the feet. And unless Elliott completely gasses, but I think even if he gasses, I don't think it's going to be he's gassed to the point where he can't fight back. I think he fights through it. So tough fight for me to call, man.
Do you like any over-under? I think it's about a pick 'em.
I don't really think there's value, but I tend to think this fight actually goes the distance. Maybe some slight value on the Elliott side.
GTD was closer to a pick 'em, actually, not the over and under. It's juiced to the over at -150. So, yeah, I mean, we gave you kind of like a longish breakdown, and then we both said that we don't know what the fuck's going to go on. So that happens a lot, because it's funny, because the longer breakdowns you would think are ones where we have like a strong take, but actually the longer breakdowns are usually the ones where we don't have a strong take, because we're giving you all sides of the coin. This could happen. This is a potential. Beware of this. Whereas if I have a strong take, I'm like, Aspinall's going to knock the fuck out of Blades. I don't need to carry on speaking, right? So it's funny because we go long on the ones that we don't even know what the fuck's going to happen. And so a big pass from both of us.
Yeah, dog, next fight. And you know what? I enjoyed talking the fights with you, so I'm trying to get these plus EV legs and get the ideas out there. Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio. I think this is mine, dude. I think I thought Prachnio might have a chance here and to possibly win a decision, possibly go on. I refilmed the fight, and I just tend to think that this could come down to the optics, and people forget about this in MMA a lot. Look at Muhammad Usman last week versus Thomas Peterson, and then the commentators obviously mentioned it there. Every time the guy gets hit, he's doing the chicken dance. It wasn't even the chicken dance. I don't know if he's actually getting rocked. There's just the reactions were awful on the Usman side, right? So when the judges are seeing this, even if Peterson was obviously beating him, even if they weren't, the optics were just so bad that the judges didn't even have to think about it, right? It was obvious that Peterson was getting the job done, because every time he punched the guy, it looked like he was having a stroke. And I kind of get the same vibes a little bit from Prachnio. So when he's hitting Bukauskas, I don't think it's going to have the same, maybe, Bukauskas after getting knocked out the last time could be a little chinny, but I don't see the same power from Prachnio. He's more of a karate point fighter than a guy like Petrino, who's obviously got the power. I like Bukauskas too, because the guy, he was injured in that one fight. He decides, some people, they might just pack their bags. Bad knee injury, you never want to fight again. This guy comes back to the gym. He goes to Cage Warriors. He gets a couple wins. He comes back into the UFC, gets wins versus, Tyson Pedro as well in that fight. Pedro obviously not in the UFC anymore. Was the Pedro fight, was it close? He beat Pedro, right? As a big underdog. I think the line closed pretty closely, but I believe he beat Pedro him.
He beat Pedro at +200 when he lost the first round and won the next two on cardio.
Yep. That was the fight. Even the Pauga fight, he's getting hit, but I don't think the reactions are as bad as a guy like Prachnio, where he fought, a guy like William Knight, who obviously has the power, but the skill clearly wasn't there. Devin Clark, not a skilled striker. He's a guy that's going to wrestle. He had no success in the wrestling. Unfortunately, I thought Clark was going to win there, possibly by knockout. It didn't come to fruition in that fight. I think Modestas gets a little bit cleaner with the strikes, and I think maybe, the narrative that we had on the last fight with Clark able to get the knockout could come back here. I think Bukauskas is live for a finish as well, and I think even if he doesn't finish him, the optics from the striking of Prachnio, just the reactions that he gives from some of the strikes, it just doesn't look like he likes to get hit. He's winging punches and then he's getting hit, and it looks like he's, falling over. So every time I think Bukauskas hits him, I think the judges, the crowd's going to go, oh, the judges are going to see it. And I think that's how he wins that decision either way. So I think Bukauskas is the side. I think he wins. And that's my read on the fight. I don't think he's the greatest fighter in the world, but I think he has a lot of chances to win this fight here.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that I thought there could be some value on Prachnio here, especially via decision, but he's probably going to lose the third round because he gasses out. Bukauskas doesn't really gas out. And the optics are going to be bad, like after the 7.5-minute mark for the most part on the Prachnio side. So Prachnio probably needs a close decision. So really, what is his value here? Bukauskas probably would win a closest decision as well, to be honest. But in my opinion, he's got more chance to get like a knockdown, more chance to get a knockout, more chance to dominate rounds. I don't think Prachnio is really going to dominate rounds, even if he's winning the round. It'll probably be fairly close. Whereas I think round 3, Bukauskas could potentially dominate. So yeah, I'll go with Bukauskas to win via decision here. Not too much I really care about. I think
what's round 3 your decision? Is it a similar price? I mean, I think that's
no. I'll have to check.
Yeah. Just for the people in the thing, if you're getting a similar line on the round 3 decision, I think Bukauskas is live for a finish in round 3.
Yeah, I agree. But honestly, like, I couldn't lay juice on Bukauskas. I think he could lose a decision here for sure. But I think that it would be close if he loses. So like, I don't really want to bet Marcin either.
He could be a little bit lackluster on the volume, Bukauskas. So that's the one thing that worries me, especially on the money line side. If this fight does go to decision,
I mean, goes to decision is -135. I don't really know why it's so sure. I would make my goes to decision like -170, to be honest. So
light heavyweights, though. I mean, I tend to agree with you on that, but maybe that's why you're getting value. Light heavyweights, right?
I mean, I'm definitely going to write the GTD as a potential plus EV leg. A -135, I don't mind. The over as well is all right, -175. I'll write that down. But outside of that, I don't like anything.
Yeah, I like the Bukauskas side here personally. I think round 3 decision is probably the way to play it. He could even be live for a round 3 finish, depending on that number. You get a round 3 knockout profit, something crazy. I don't mind it. But then again, he could be a little lackluster with the volume, so I don't want to be sitting there screaming at my TV. Round 3 decision, Bukauskas for me. I like his money line as well.
Fair enough.
What's it sitting at? I mean, it's a little juiced, so probably not the best.
Do you really want to get involved in that, though, bro? Like, what's do you really have a big edge at minus?
No, I'm not going to put it in a parlay. I'm at -147. It's not happening. Bet Online's offering you the best line too. So,
like, what has he really done? Like, yeah, okay, he should win on optics in round 3, but what has Bukauskas done in his career? He's beat Pedro, who gasses out after round 1,
and is retired now.
Yeah, and is retired, and then apparently he was very sick for that fight.
Right,
and then also.
Good point.
He's beat Pauga in a fight I thought he lost. Pauga ain't good. Pauga's tiny as well, and he ain't that good anyway. So it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I thought he lost that fight as a -200 favorite, and Prachnio's if he beats Prachnio, it's his best win. Like, you could say it's Pedro, but I don't know, man. Like, I think I don't know. They're similar level, right? And that Pedro fight was a weird one as well. So. I don't know. I don't think you're getting like Bukauskas ain't the type of guy to trust, like, because Prachnio is a veteran as well, bro. Like, he knows how to win.
Yeah, I haven't bet it, so I will go on to the next fight. I believe it is Lochran versus Jake Hadley. This one's yours, my man. Jake Hadley now at a +200 underdog. Callan -235.
I thought there might be some value on Jake, but guy's just gonna like play guard when he gets taken down, and he will be taken down here. So. If you don't think he can sweep, if you don't think he can reverse, if you don't think he can triangle choke, which personally I don't think he can do consistently, he probably would sweep once or twice though. But if you don't think he's going to do that, you can't really play Jake Hadley. But he's probably a better striker. He's better on the feet a little bit, but like he ain't this elite striker who's going to like stay at distance, etc. He's going to crash into the pocket for the most part. He'll probably be taken down. It's a short notice fight. It's up a weight class. I want to bet Hadley because it's like, I don't know, man. Seeing +200 next to Hadley's name, I still think Hadley's not the worst fighter. I think maybe he's had some tough fights. I mean, Nascimento's a tough fight. Charles Johnson is a tough fucking fight, man. And, he didn't get blown out of the water by Charles Johnson. That was a close fight, bro. Like, if he didn't get knocked down there, I mean, not even he didn't get knocked down. That round 3 was very close. Jake Hadley could have beat Charles Johnson, right? Jake Hadley could have beat... This, honestly, JB, this might be one of them ones where it's like, it's hard to form a path for Jake Hadley in your mind, right? Like a coherent, clear path. This is the way he's going to win. Obviously, we can make ways he's going to win, but they seem kind of unlikely to me. But it's a fucking MMA fight. This might be the one where Jake Hadley wins as a +200 underdog. Honestly, I really do believe that could happen here. I'm not going to do it though, man. I'm going to pass on the fight. There's no way you can play Lochran. There's no way you can do it. I think this could be one that I'm fucking angry about when Jake Hadley wins. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to repeat myself. All of the reasons that I just said are the reasons that I'm not betting Jake Hadley. So I'm just going to, I'm going to pass, man.
Yeah, I think let's just talk about both these guys like body type wise. Obviously, Jake Hadley missed weight, which is a little bit weird. I think he, coming up a weight class, that's an interesting thing. Maybe he wants the advantage in the grappling, just the extra weight to have. I'm not sure because it's just weird that he's coming up a weight class and missing weight here. That's a little bit eye-opening. But I think his cardio might be a little bit better at 135 than it was at 125. You're not having to drain yourself as much, right? We know sometimes the weight cut could take more out of you than the actual training, even everything. And it could definitely deplete your cardio as a fighter. As you said, the level of competition at flyweight wasn't the worst. I think he even still is taller, 2-inch reach advantage, bro. And at the same time, Lochran, I thought, had some trouble with the southpaw stance, which is Jake Hadley's thing. I know Lapalus is a way better striker, but he was beating him in the lead hand battle. I was able to get the jab off. I think, the path for Hadley is to not get hit here. He's going to probably get taken down. He needs to use his submission ability. He has very flexible limbs, very long limbs. He'll throw up like rubber guard, triangles. And then when his opponent postures up, he's using leg locks. Even omoplatas to sweep and get on top. Obviously, like you said, Nascimento's a good black belt. He had submission attempts on him, guillotines. He's got a nice guillotine as well. I think he needs to use that awkwardness, that length, and ability to his advantage on the ground. And no need to apologize, my man. The thing I think the advantage is that Hadley is absorbing, less strikes per minute than Lochran, and it shows on the film. Lochran, with his style, he just kind of moves forward, but he's there to be hit. He doesn't have the best head movement. Hadley, I think, can get off on jabs here, low kicks, etc. The problem is, if Lochran's putting him on the ground and bullying him there, that could be a problem. Like you said before, when somebody's a little bit bigger in the weight class, he's short, stocky. That's going to be a big advantage for the wrestling. But I think the limbs and length could be a submission threat that Hadley needs to use to get back to his feet. But it could be a blanketing from Callan Lochran. It could be, one of those frustrating fights where you're like, Hadley just needs to do a little bit more to get back up, not be so jiu-jitsu oriented. And then, you're sitting there and it was an illusion of value, as you like to say it. But I know the takedown defense isn't there, but I think he uses the chain of the threat of the upper body submissions to the lower body submissions. He needs to use it to sweep, though, instead of, really being a threat. But he is a submission threat. He could get a sub, but I think he really, like you said, needs to use it to sweep to get on top to possibly win this fight on the feet, just off of volume, just off of striking defense. I actually like his defensive structures on the feet as well. He's blocking punches with his elbows. He's blocking punches, properly, whereas Callan, like I said, is just there to be hit. So Hadley, talented fighter, tough, short notice fight, up a weight class. I think it's a dog or pass for me here, just based off of defense. And I think, at the end of the day, this is the best offensive grappler in the jiu-jitsu skills that Callan has fought by far. Yeah.
Yeah. The fight against Charles Johnson and Cody Durden were close. Like, they're not, on another day, he beats... Bro, like, he almost broke Cody's arm. You know what I mean? Like, on another day, Cody's arm gets broken and he can't fight anymore, right? And he still won one round of that fight. And then on top of that, the Charles Johnson fight was very close. Like, that was a very close fight. And we've seen Charles Johnson now establish himself as a legit fighter. I mean, fuck, I want to bet Jake Hadley,
Even Cody Durden just had a decent performance. I know he got knocked out, but he was
fighter, man.
On.
Cody's established himself as a very, very legit flyweight fighter. I mean,
that's the thing, though. It's at flyweight. Will the weight play into Callan's advantage? Will the body type of Callan, he's able to hold him down and bully him there? But I just think possibly the length and awkwardness and the flexibility on the ground with the jiu-jitsu attacks could, win Jake Hadley a close decision here. It's dog or pass for me.
It's like, Fatima Klein, like, she's a better fighter than Jasmine, but it was literally the size she just lost, if they're at size parity, I mean, she fucks her up. So it's like, do we get that here? It's very tough to say, right? But the thing is, we're not getting a -110 line. We're getting a +200 line. So I'll take some time to think about it. I might end up on Jake Hadley, like, because I really feel like this is one of the ones where everyone counts him out, and then he wins. Because, bro, I don't know anyone on Hadley, and everyone I speak to is like, yeah, it's too much. It's sure knows it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. But bro,
maybe he was prepared for this. Like, he's at home, working with good strength coaches as well. I forget the guy's name, but he's the guy that's working with Christian Leroy Duncan as well. And at the end of the day, I don't think Hadley's the smallest 25er. I think he's pretty big for that weight class. So maybe he fills in. I think
bro. He missed weight at 155. He missed weight for this, bro. Did he look bad on the scales or
no? Honestly, I don't think it was like obviously Callan's a little bit like a lot shorter, stockier. That's gonna cause, like I said, advantages in the wrestling. But I think once this fight hits the mat, I don't think Hadley's dead to rights. And on the feet, I don't think Callan's going to be landing as much as people think. On the feet, I think Hadley's the side personally, just off of defense.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm speaking about this a lot and dragging it out just because I am like heavily thinking about this. It's just the takedown defense is not there, is it? I mean, even in the Contender Series fight, he lost the first round there from getting taken down. It's like against a shit fighter, basically. I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. Anyway, we'll move on because we spoke about this a lot, but I do think there might be some value on Hadley there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me move on to the next. I believe it's Molly McCann, but let me just make sure I am correct. Yeah, we have Molly McCann versus Bruna Brasil. I believe this is this is not the main prelim, but we got Molly McCann sitting at a -350, brother. -350 versus Bruna Brasil +285. Is this mine or yours?
I'll just be quick, man.
Okay.
I don't know, but let me just be quick. So I think that the value is on any plus money total, right? And at the moment, any plus money, right? And obviously, I'm talking about money line and total, right? And the plus money is on Bruna Brasil, and the plus money is on under. So if anything, I'd play Bruna and I'd play under. People will think like, "What? You really think Bruna can finish Molly?" Well, I'm not saying you play both of them. You can, but actually, I do think it is possible that Bruna could finish Molly. Molly is at a new weight class. We don't know how she's going to react at this weight class to getting cracked properly. It hasn't really happened so far. She's been down there before, but she hasn't really been in any type of danger there. I think that, if she gets hit on the feet, who knows? She comes forward like a lunatic. At some point, I think she's going to get dropped and hurt badly. I also believe that she can finish the fight, obviously. She's going to go crazy. In Manchester, I think Molly's probably going to get a finish at the end of the day. But, man, I think the line's a little bit wide. And I also believe that the total should be – I don't think the total should be +130 on the under 2.5.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the bookmakers are favoring Molly to get not favoring, but they have Molly at a pretty crazy price to get a knockout here. And it's possible, like, Bruna does get backed up, but we're looking at a girl in Denise Gomes who absolutely can crack. I think she's proven herself as a better, striker at this point. Molly McCann, Molly McCann, man, like, at the end of the day, look at the level of competition that she's beating and fighting. Obviously, they're I think more setting her up. She had a tough matchup. People kind of want to give her smack for the Julia Stoliarenko loss. I think Stoliarenko in round 1 by armbar is okay. I know it was pretty shit the way she got set up in there. So definitely some things to think about when it comes to the grappling of McCann. And I don't think Brazil's the worst grappler, especially with her size. She could get clinch trips, I think, as well. I think on the feet, she's not the worst, especially at range. I think Molly's going to have to get past that range, which she's been able to do in the past before. And then I think she's going to land the more damaging shots. I think the judges are going to see that. I think the crowd's going to be oohing and eyeing. So it's either a Molly McCann late stoppage for me, and maybe like round 2. I think standing TKO gets her up against the cage, finally pushes her back to that point where she could just unload on Brasil and land those big shots. Or I think this fight goes to decision. It's super close split decision, and they probably give it to Molly, but who knows? So for me here, it's got to be a dog or pass from a money line standpoint. And when it comes to totals, I tend to think it's a tough one to call, because if anyone has finishing potential, I do think it's Molly personally.
Yeah.
But as you said, we don't know how she's going to react to being cracked, and I think Bruna is a submission threat more than people give her credit for. I don't think she's obviously level of Stolyarenko or some of these other people, but all in all, I think Molly's going to win. I think she's probably getting set up here to get a win as well, but there's no way I could trust her at a minus 350, and she's lost at that price tag before as well. So it's just obvious that I can't play her at this price. But I don't think I'll ever get to Brazil, in all honesty. Just the way she looked in her last fight pissed me off. I had her against Luke Boomy. I thought she was going to have a grappling advantage. I thought she was going to be able to, pick her apart at range, and it just didn't come to fruition. She just looked a little bit lackluster, like she didn't really want to fight. And I think Molly McCann always comes to fight. So give me the person that's going to fight for the money. Give me McCann.
Let's go, bro.
We got the next fight is Daniel Pineda versus Nathaniel Wood. This is an absolute barn burner, bro. You mind if I take this one, bro?
Please go.
So Pineda's a dog fight. He's a tough scrapper, 4-ounce fight club. Those guys are always going to come forward. I think they're very aggressive with their submissions and submission attempts, constant front choke attempts. I think Pineda, is live in round one. That's what I'm going to say. I think Pineda's live in round one early. I think Wood is a good fighter, better than people give him credit for it. He's just a little bit outsized in a lot of these fights. I think he's, a little bit of a tweener. And it's just tough because it's actually kind of funny because Nathaniel Wood's from your parts.
Yeah, bro.
And Pineda is from my parts. So it's a little bit interesting. I think this is a scrap, bro. I think Pineda's live to 10-8 him in round one. I think Pineda's live to finish him in round one. We've seen Wood hurt. We've seen Wood put in submissions. We've seen Wood submitted. I think Pineda is like a legitimate black belt with legit power, but he could be a little bit of I don't want to say glass cannon, but he obviously is a gasser. Let's just say what it is. I think he gasses like pretty bad in his fights. He's able to survive, but he clearly just slows down, even at like 4-minute mark in the first round if the pace is that high. It's just he brings a crazy pace. So, like I said before, I think, these parlay busters, when we talk about them, it's more big moments a lot of the time. Like, obviously, the bookmakers are wrong. They could be an outskilled underdog that outskills somebody, but I tend to think, big moments, some people aren't expecting. Pineda's live for a round one here. KO, I think more often than not, it's a club and sub. He hurts Wood on the feet, and Pineda, Wood shoots, Pineda wraps up a guillotine. Like, I rolled with a guy from that gym yesterday. He's trying to attack guillotine the whole round. So, and it's constant attacks of the submission. It's never a resting position with these guys. They will give up everything for the submission, and that's dangerous to me. That's a guy that makes a guy dangerous early, especially with a big size advantage. But end of the day, I always bet on the cardio. I always go with who I think is a little bit more well-rounded. But when it comes to line value on this fight, Pineda round one. I think fight doesn't go the distance as well. That's my lean on the fight. Is it possible Wood wins the decision? Maybe. I just think Pineda's more kill or be killed. And even the Wood finishing props, people, you could see the market is respecting that. I think Wood's live to win a decision. I even think draw is live here. We haven't seen one all year. I think this guy, Pineda, could win round one, a 10-8, and then the next two rounds. Crazy call. I always have one. But
or the other way around. He could lose 10-8 in round two.
Fair point.
Winning maybe some wrestling in the first two.
Fair point, man. And I think that's possible here. Will I be betting it? Probably not. Plus 6,600 though. It's worth at least a mention for me. But that's how I see the fight. Just to let you guys know, I think Pineda's success early, very very live with submission threats, very live with front chokes, very live with power. Wood is going to probably take over because just the gassing of Pineda, and that's it. That's all I got, man. I think he could hurt Wood.
This guy needs to rewind or some shit. Did you not see Bannon plus 500 submission? Did you not see sub 2-3 plus 3,000?
Kiefer Crosby round 1 knockout plus 1,100. What are you talking about?
Did you not
I just gave you one on this fight.
Jake Hadley plus 200, I said, is the side. What are you on about? My man, MB, what are you on about, bro? But yeah, like Pineda looks huge, you know, and that obviously could be the way he wins the fight, bro, because the guy has beat some good fighters in the past. He beat Jeremy Kennedy, bro. He beat Movlid Kobalayev, bro. Like this guy.
And that was back when, he was on the sauce.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying anything. Like, I don't know if the guy's back on the sauce, but you've seen it lately.
No USADA anymore. Who knows what people are doing? You know, Pineda, he's done it before. Will he do it again? Of course.
I may have saw him stick the needle in his ass. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, so I personally think, you know, Wood probably gets his late finish or decision. The thing is, you know, Pineda gasses out, but he's very tough to finish. You know, he's definitely not easy to finish. It's weird because he's very gassed, but he pushes through, man. He pushes through, and he doesn't just give up. So I always like to see that. I think Wood's just a better fighter everywhere. You know, I guess the grappling's a bit different. I wouldn't say he's the better fighter, but
yeah, I like the guard recovery of Pineda as well. Like, he'll attack submission, maybe gets past, but then he recovers his guard really quick, and I think that could like make it to where the point where Wood's just kind of sitting in his guard, avoiding submissions. He recovers guard. Back to the, that's just kind of a wash cycle. And Wood wins those rounds off of just control, holding this big dude down. Like, fuck, man, on the feet, it's greasy. I got to get this to the ground, but avoid the submission attempts.
Yeah, like I like Wood a lot, man. He's been on my channel a couple of times. I speak to Wood quite often on the DMs. He's a good guy. I just think he should be better. He should be at 135. I think we saw in the Naimov fight, he was a little bit small. I do think that was basically due to size and physicality, to be honest. I wouldn't say it was due to anything else. It wasn't due to skill set. It wasn't nothing like that. It was literally just, he was just a bit too big for him. And it's not like Naimov's the biggest 145er either. So, yeah, I would like to see him at 135, but the guy's like 30 years old now. I think he turned 30 recently. He doesn't want to cut the weight. It is what it is, man. He's still a good fighter, still can compete, beat Charles Jourdain, beat Andre Fili, who are two decent guys in the division, especially Andre Fili. So, everyone's screaming, move down to 135. It's not as simple as that. He's already got a win over Andre Fili, who is a perennial top 25 guy at 145. Why, if Andre Fili's competing and he beat him there, why can't he, you know what I mean? And Naimov fight was very close. He had an argument to even win the fight. He hurt Naimov, almost finished him. If Naimov didn't cheat, he probably wins the fight. So it's like, everyone's like, he needs to move down. I think he should, but I don't think he has. He can still win fights at 145. Do I think he's going to win this fight? I do think he's going to win this fight. Do I think the line is wide? The line is probably a bit too wide, to be honest. I mean, he's a massive, massive, massive favorite where there definitely is a chance that Pineda gets his round one finish, as he's been patented to do, many times in his career. And if not, then, there's a chance he just gets some wrestling for 1 or 2 rounds and gasses out and survives in round 3. So I wouldn't be parlaying Wood at this price or playing him at this price. But ultimately, I think he, gets a decision win. I actually like the ability of Pineda to survive. I'm just checking the line on that now because I think GTD probably would be big. Yeah, plus 160. It's not big enough for me to play it because I do think that he could get finished late in the fight. But I will say the other 1.5 was at minus 150 earlier in the week, and I don't really mind that too much. So that's all I'm going to say for this one.
I think that's a fair breakdown, honestly, man. I think we kind of covered that really well. Next fight is the first fight of the main card, guys. We got minus 220 on Arnold Allen versus plus 185 Giga Chikadze. Very interesting fight, my man. This is your one to take off. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so, when the fight was first announced and I saw, when the lines came out and I saw Giga at when the lines settled, because I don't bet openers, but I saw Giga about plus 200 and I was like, or plus 210 or some shit. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I might have to play that. Let me look into it. I looked into it and I'm like, man, Giga Chikadze doesn't really do nothing, man. He stands on the outside. He bounces a little bit. He throws a couple of kicks. I bet Caceres a plus 200 against him last time. And I mean, the margins were very, very slim in that fight. And he gave him the ideal fight. He couldn't give him more of an ideal fight. And the margins were still slim in that fight, to be honest. It's not like he blew him out of the water. So I think if Arnold Allen just avoids giving him a outside kickboxing fight where he never ever pushes anything, I think he should fuck him up. I think he can even finish Giga for the first time in Giga's career. We see in the Calvin Kattar fight, Giga should have been finished a million times, right? Like he got wobbled, he got hurt, he got rocked. It was kind of a miracle that he didn't get finished in that fight. But, like, shout out to him. He survived that fight. I think that if he goes through a beating like that again, he won't survive it. I think Arnold Allen actually has the skill set to put him through a beating like that. The Edson Barboza fight, I felt like that was getting away from him before he found the finish. And I just haven't liked what I've seen from him really. And Arnold Allen's a fucking good fighter, man. If Arnold Allen puts the pace on him, mixes in the takedowns and the grappling with some of his striking, I think he can finish Giga on the feet. I also think he can finish him via front choke because I've seen him lock it up before in the UFC. Bannon, a long time ago, we know about that one. He's locked it up a couple of times on other fighters as well. Actually, Movsar Evloev in his last fight, he locked it up against, and Evloev is unsubmittable, so he was able to survive that. But Arnold Allen does love that front choke. Giga is a striker. I think Arnold Allen has outs to dominate the fight and win inside the distance. The only way Giga wins is if Arnold just is a fucking idiot. And Arnold isn't an idiot. He's got a very good game plan. He never fights stupidly, in my opinion. Max Holloway fight was a good performance, in my opinion, and we know Max is still in his prime. Evloev fight, a lot of people said it was close. I felt like he got beat the fuck up, to be honest. But a lot of people, some people scored it for him, which is stupid, but there must be something going on there, which is like he still competed in that fight. Let's put it that way. And Evloev is a very good fight, a very hard stylistic matchup for anyone. So I like Arnold Allen, and I also think he can finish it. And the reason I keep mentioning the finish because it's massive odds, right? So I'm only mentioning these things because the odds are very big. Like if it was -110, you wouldn't even have heard me say finish. So I'm a gambler at the end of the day, not just an analyst. Two very different things. So yeah, I'm going to pick Arnold Allen. I don't mind a flower on him inside the distance. Or just to be safer, you go the under 2.5 or something like that. Plus 200 is a big number, JB, for guys who have got finishes in the UFC and someone where I think Giga is a little bit vulnerable in the striking, actually, to be honest. If he's fighting someone who can mix it up, he gets a little bit panicky in the striking, like he did in the Calvin Kattar fight. He hasn't fought many guys who can mix it up, to be honest. He's fought Cubs want somebody finishing very early. And then obviously the submissions are always going to be alive against Giga. So yeah, I like Arnold Allen.
You know what's interesting about that Mads Brunel front choke, and a lot of people give Mads Brunel, some crap, but he's a good fighter, and he has got a dangerous front choke of his own, that Japanese necktie. So to get a guy with a, I know it's a different kind of choke, to get a guy with a front choke that's good at front chokes, when you're good at an offensive move, that means you're going to be good at the defensive move as well, because you know what's coming. You know all the defenses, the late stage defenses, the early stage defenses to get past that move. And even then, Allen was still able to go through process to get the sub. And let's just talk about Evloev. Evloev does put himself in a lot of subs, but he's got great sub defense as well. If Giga gets put in any of these spots, it's wraps for him. And even on the feet as well, Giga's getting a little bit older. I think in a boxing range, I think he's a little bit cooked here. I think Allen's the way sharper hands. I think he's a little bit more aggressive as well. He put out Hooker quick. I know, say what you want about Hooker. Weird fight at 145, but he just blitzed him, took him out. He did what he had to do there. He knew he could get him out, and he did so. And I think the aggressiveness of Allen, the boxing, like you said, avoid that outside kickboxing range. Yeah, people say he hasn't been offensively wrestling lately, but I think that's what's going to give you the edge on the market. That just gives you a reason to, he's going to offensively wrestle here. In my opinion, it would be stupid for him not to. And even at the end of the day, I think he could hurt him on the feet as well and then out-grapple him. I think we saw it in the Kattar fight. I think what we get here is a similar type of fight. 3 rounds only, a little bit different, but I think it only takes, 2 rounds for him to hurt Giga or get Giga on the ground in a bad position, or Giga starts to, slow down a little bit from the grappling, and I think that could put him in some bad spots. And I'll just be honest with you, I did take the sub. I took it at plus 950 earlier in the week. It's like plus 700 now. I think that's a great line. It opened plus 800 on Bet Online, down to plus 500. He's got 2 subs in his career. I know it was a very long time ago, but submitted by Austin Springer. Calvin Kattar put him on the mat in bad spots. And this is just, when we're talking about the level of competition, I don't even think it's close. So give me Arnold Allen to get the job done. Likely decision, I think, but why can't he finish him here? Giga's getting a lot older, and I think big grappling advantage when it does get to the mat. And people are acting like, oh, Allen's, he averages 1.2 takedowns per 15 minutes. It's not like he can't take a guy down. He might not do it in every single one of his fights, but it just shows that he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. And if he was just a wrestler, then there would be no value. Maybe he doesn't get the takedowns because he's not mixing it up on the feet. When you're mixing it up on the feet and then shooting the takedowns, it opens up your strikes and it opens up your grappling. So give me the more well-rounded mixed martial artist here, man. Allen, all day.
Yes, yeah, I'm on it too. So I've wrote that Allen money line. I've wrote under 2.5, etc. Sub 800 might be different somewhere else. Bro, can you take the next one away? I'm just gonna have to shoot off. I can hear you, but I'll be back.
Yeah, you're good, bro. Absolutely. I'm gonna grab a water after this as well. So we might both be leaving. No, I'm joking. I like Christian Leroy Duncan here versus Gregory Rodriguez, I believe is the next fight. Yeah, so interesting fight. I think Christian Leroy Duncan, he's got the kicks to all three levels. He's got the low kicks. He throws a good teep kick. He'll throw side kicks even in the knee, spinning kicks, spinning back fists. So this guy's array of striking is really wide. Whereas on the Gregory Rodriguez side, he's a little bit more simple. He's going to come forward. He's going to have jabs. I think, he can be hittable at times, but he usually loses, I think, to more guys with power in the hands. Gregory Rodriguez, he could be knocked out here. We've seen the chin get tested time and time again. I just think that at the end of the day here, I have to go with durability. I've seen Gregory Rodriguez wobbled in these fights, not just hurt, even in the fights that he's not getting knocked out in, he gets hurt. Jun Young Park had him hurt, and Jun Young Park isn't even the biggest power puncher. So I think Christian Leroy Duncan will be able to land here at some point on Gregory Rodriguez, and I don't know if I could trust the chin of Gregory Rodriguez to last here. But if this fight does go to decision, I did mention it yesterday on Narco Cops podcast. I think the Gregory Rodriguez, more technical MMA fighter, if the durability doesn't bite him in the ass here, he's liable to win the fight. And that's it. When we talk about the grappling as well, Christian Leroy Duncan, yes, he does use the cage to get back to his feet. But if Gregory Rodriguez decides to implement the takedowns here, and he's able to consistently put, or even put Christian Leroy Duncan in a bad spot once or twice, that could be change the trajectory of the fight. He could backpack him there, and I think he could even possibly submit him. Yes, we haven't seen the submission yet, but at the end of the day, we know the capability is there. He's just has to take that path, and I think it's possible, when this guy spins, he looks to take the back, get him down in that fashion, and he's just got to settle into position, really take his time, and I think he could find the submission on Christian Leroy Duncan. We've seen Armin Petrosyan was able to have some success in that path as well. So give me not Gregory Rodriguez. Give me Christian Leroy Duncan here as the side. I don't know if there's any value on the line because I'm just basing it off of durability at the end of the day. And I think that if this fight does go to decision, maybe you take Gregory Rodriguez decision only. But I do think Leroy could win a decision, I think there's a little bit more equity on the Gregory Rodriguez side to win the decision. So that's it. Hopefully my man gets back here soon because I have exhausted all my options on this fight. And I need to grab my charger, so no more water either. I'm going to grab a water. This dude want me to have an hour-long breakdown? I don't have anything else to say. What's the next fight? I got an idea here. Let me read the comments. JB got the heck out of there. All right, let me answer some questions. You the man, JB. Let's hear it. RoboCop KO. Ground and pound round 1 and 2. No. Gregory Rodriguez coming to prove JB wrong. Possible. Do we like Sam? No. We were on Kiefer Crosby. What's up, Jewish? What's up, bro? How you gonna bet against Obama? Okay, I got you. I get what you're saying there. G-Rod, Florida, CDD. See, no, I don't like that. I don't think he's gonna knock him out. JB praying for Kiefer Crosby right now. I don't care for a lot of his takes. James. Well, then don't care for my takes, Lex Luthor. You're one of my favorite villains, but screw you, man.
Yeah, man. Fuck Lex Luthor, bro.
Fuck that guy. So I don't know if you heard my breakdown, but I think this is a tough fight to call. I think durability could be the main play in this fight on the CLD side. So I'm gonna go younger guy, upwards trajectory in his hometown with the durability factor. Not a strong read for me though, bro. And I think Gregory Rodriguez, like I said, has a little bit more decision equity that I think the books are saying.
Well, honestly, I think this is a hard fight to call because I feel like Gregory Rodriguez, I'm not going to say he's better on the feet, but I think he has upside to land more shots than Duncan. Like, I don't know. When I see Duncan fight Tallulah and other people, to be honest, I can see the openings for Gregory Rodriguez, right? Like I can see the openings that Rodriguez can crack because he was getting hit by Tallulah quite a lot, to be honest. But the durability was just there, man. And it's like we got someone who's very durable going against someone who's not. So I could most certainly, like, I personally think Cioto is going to knock him out, man. I don't think he's as good as of a fight out, but I think his durability is just too much, you know. And I think it's going to be a firefight. Gregory Rodriguez always walks forward into the fire. And he's going up against someone who is very tough to finish, very tough to even hurt. And Gregory's very kind of easy to finish, to be honest. It's weird. Obviously, some fights he pushes through, but for the most part, it's very easy to hurt him. So, yeah, man, I think that COD is going to knock him out. But I wouldn't be betting COD, even at an underdog price, even if I'm picking him to win, which means minimum 51% I'm giving him. So I'm saying he should be minus money, I guess, right? If I'm saying he's winning, I guess I'm saying he should be minus money. But man, I'm definitely not confident. But I do think that he gets a knockout, and I don't mind the under 1.5 rounds at plus 150 here. I think it should be like minus 110, but for some reason it's plus 150. I don't know what you think about the under 1.5, but yeah,
a tough one to call for me personally. I don't have much on the fight.
Don't you think it should be more closer to minus 110, or do you think plus 150 makes sense more?
I think 7.5 minutes is a long time for these two guys, so I actually kind of agree with you.
Yeah, like I don't have a strong read if it goes over and under, and that's why I'm saying it should be around a pick 'em. You know,
pick 'em, right?
Like I can see both. Like I have a strong read based on the odds. I don't have a strong read based on the actual fight because I guess I could see it going over, but if it goes over, it probably finishes like a minute or two. Like, is this going to round 3? If it goes to round 3, that will be a fucking war. Like, for it to get all the way to round 3, surely it'll be a crazy war. And I don't really think these guys are going to be involved in like a crazy war that goes to round 3, honestly. Like, the doesn't go to decision. What's that? Doesn't go to decision is minus 270. But the under 1.5 is plus 150. It's been hit now. I hit it. But the GTD, right? DGTD is minus 270. The under 1.5 was plus 150. Plus 150 to minus 270. They're basically saying it's more than likely going to finish in the back half of the fight. I think it's more than likely going to finish in the early half of the fight. So someone's wrong. That's a massive discrepancy between me and the books there. Massive, absolutely massive. But I don't have a strong take on, the actual fight, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to kind of agree with you there. Not a bad read, man. We have 3 fights left. I know the co-main and main event, but what is the next fight? I don't have my phone with me now. So we talk.
One second.
If the people are gonna have to tell us in the chat. I know Tom Aspinall. I remember that. I remember the other one. It's a good fight too.
Bro, you forgot Bobby Green versus Paddy,
brother.
Paddy.
That's a banger.
Yeah, good fight.
Do you want me to take this one, bro?
Yeah, bro, take this one.
Do I have any background noise? Can you hear that, or
a little bit? Oh, well, we'll see if the people complain.
okay? Let me know because
where's the mic, bro? I thought you bought a mic like a while
I
back.
do, but this dude's mowing his lawn. I don't know. It's gonna probably come through.
If they complain, they can tell me. I don't know.
All right, let me know, guys, because if it does, I'll fix it immediately. Personally, I think this just comes down to durability again, bro. I seen, for what Paddy Pimblett lacks in skill and speed, I think he makes up for in durability, power, and grit. I think Bobby Green's toward the end of his career. I think he has less to fight for. I think Paddy's a big star when it comes to social media following. He's the biggest star on the card by far. So I think the UFC's backing him, and he got the re-signed contract compared to a guy like Mokaev. Obviously, the UFC's invested in this guy. We've seen it time and time again. And I want to say he's live to KO Green early because we've seen Green hurt. And the Dober knockout, he was winning that whole fight. He was cleanly beating Dober until the one shot that he didn't see coming hit him. And I think maybe back in the earlier days of Bobby Green's career, he may have saw that shot coming.
Or even take it better, or even not get knocked out from it.
Fair point. And that's my worry with him here. The Jalen Turner knockout, I was there for that one live. I thought that was a brutal, cold knockout, especially at the late age. Maybe Jalen Turner's a bit more of a power puncher, a bit more of a, how do I say it? He's not as skilled as Jalen Turner, right? And maybe he doesn't have the clean power as much, especially the straight punches of Turner. But he throws with everything he's got. He's coming for the finish early. And then we haven't even talking about the grappling. Obviously, Paddy isn't the best offensive wrestler, but when this fight does hit the ground, I think he's got a big advantage there as well. And the thing is with Green, he has not been controlled on the mat that much. But we saw him get outed by Islam Makhachev. Obviously, Islam's super high level. The thing is, I don't think guys are trying to take the back of Bobby Green. Bobby Green's giving up his back to get back up to his feet. And I think Paddy in those opportunities could take the back. He's got slick back takes. So say what you want about the offensive wrestling. He's got really good back takes, and we've seen that strategy work in the UFC before. Aljamain Sterling, he's got good offensive wrestling, but he's really good at taking the back. And I think Paddy's good at doing that. We saw that in the Levitt fight. Bobby Green's a good fighter, man. I think where he has the advantage here is in the defense, right? On the feet, he gets hit a lot less than Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is hittable. But Scousers don't get knocked out, and I think if anyone was going to knock out a Scouser, it's not Bobby Green. This guy's knockouts are James Krause via nut kick. He knocked down Landon Venata way back in the day. I believe he got knocked down by Lando Venata in the other fight, though, as well. He got knocked down 2 times by Poirier in their fight. So it's not impossible to hurt the guy. But when you look at his knockouts, Ally at Quinta, you're not the power puncher that is going to give a guy like Paddy threat. So Green has a narrow path to a decision for me here. And I wouldn't want a Bobby Green ticket if this fight goes to decision anyway. He'd have to win very clearly. He could do so, as we saw in the Jim Miller fight, but even in the Miller fight, Miller hurt him. Miller's 40-something years old. 2 times hurt him. So I think Paddy's live for the KO early, but I also think he's live to win a submission, club and sub. I think he can take the back, and I think he could even win a decision. Bro, I'll be headed to the casino right after this to put in these parlays. So I know my man James definitely want to get back in there.
I did a month in the casino, bro, and I walked out with more money in my pocket than before I walked in, Many men try, many men fail, but we did it, boys.
The best soccer capper, best tennis capper in the game, baby.
Yeah, to be honest, I ain't even the tennis guy. I'm not going to lie. Like, my guys do the tennis. I need to give them props, bro. My tennis group is, bro, honestly, man, my tennis group is on a different level right now. Like, there's no downtrends, bro. We win like 7 bets in a row and lose like 2. And then win like another 7. It's insane, bro. Or we win like 7 weeks in a row and lose like 1. So tennis has been fucking keeping me with a lot of money this year, and some other sports as well. But this is all about the MMA. And I have somewhat of a take for this fight. Paddy Pimblett, I think, will win. I think he's going to finish Bobby Green. I don't think that it's a lock. I'm actually not even betting Paddy Pimblett. So that tells you what you need to know. But I don't know. I just think he's going to finish Bobby Green, man. I think all he needs is one back take to win the fight. Personally, I think he's very, very good at rear naked chokes. Some people are just good at certain chokes. He's good at that one.
Even in Cage Warriors, bro, he's slick, bro.
Yeah, when he gets on his back, he's fucking. He knows what he's doing, bro. Like when he gets the fighter down, he knows what he's doing. He's very, very fast on the back. That's what he is. You know, that's his whole game is based on that. And then outside of that, I think he's got some power on the feet, and Bobby's been cracked a few times. And you know, Paddy has a fucking elite lead leg high kick. You know, like I see it very, very often, and no one really speaks about it. But he's got an elite lead leg high kick. Like he will fucking whip that thing up super fast, super quick. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually catches Bobby with that and wobble him, because I've been waiting for him to like catch someone with that and knock them out. And it's good enough to knock people out. Let me tell you that now. So yeah, I think Paddy's going to finish him. I'm not super confident, but yeah, is what it is. I'll tell you something now. If it goes to the one thing I do disagree with you is that if it goes to decision, I wouldn't like a Bobby Green ticket. I know you're saying that because of the potential like corruption, right? But if it goes to decision, bro, Bobby's probably going to have landed like 100 strikes to his head, bro. Like Bobby's going to ping his head off bad with the 1-2 and the jab. Like if he doesn't get caught and if he does last to decision, Paddy's face will have been jabbed 1,000,000 times. And I'm not going to say it's hard to rob Bobby, because like Bobby does fight with close margins anyway. But like I wouldn't. Honestly, if it goes to decision, I'd probably rather, I'd definitely rather bet Bobby Green if it goes to decision. Like, if you told me now the fight definitely goes to decision, I would play Bobby Green at -110, because I just think that if he doesn't get knocked out or finished, he's just gonna jab his face off for 15 minutes. So I actually completely disagree with that one. But obviously, I don't put as much weight in the robbery as you do. So yeah, that's the only thing I would disagree with.
It's just the point I wanted to mention, and I think really what I'm trying to get at is I just think Paddy has more paths to victory, because I still think he could win a decision, and I wouldn't want to be like comfortable with a green ticket if this does go to decision, as you said. But yeah, I mean, obviously Green is still live to win a decision here, and I think, like you said, I think he could ping him. I don't think he's got a crazy advantage in the striking though, because I think what Paddy lacks in skill and maybe even just striking, he makes up for, like I said, in the durability and the power. So he's definitely going to get hit, but I just don't think Green's strikes are going to do anything to Paddy.
Yeah, makes sense. Nice, bro. I'll write down. So what do we? So we saying Paddy money line side or not?
I bet it. I bet it. So
I'll write it down for you. I'm personally not going to bet it, because it's one of those ones where it's like, if he doesn't finish him, I'm just not going to feel glad about having Paddy. So personally, I'm going to pass.
I want to take KO 1-2, but I just, like I said, I think the club and subs live, and I think other methods are live as well.
Oh, Paddy mentioned in an interview it's going to be by head kick. Interesting.
That's a great point, man. Not a lot of people are able to flick that lead leg high kick up there like that.
It's clean. It's clean. Like people are saying, like he's got literal children who are more competent, but bro, like
people love to hate him.
Yeah, obviously people love to hate him. Like he's definitely not a great striker. He's not even a good striker for the UFC, really. But bro, like that one move is fucking legit, bro. Like not a lot of people can throw a kick like that. Like even Muay Thai guys, that shit is. You have to go fucking Taekwondo to see that shit. Like that's legit high kick, bro. Lead leg, boom. It's beautiful, to be honest.
You could catch him with it, leaning his head into it as well. That'd be a sick.
Yeah, honestly, I'm calling it. I'm not saying it's gonna knock him out.
I love it.
I'm saying I'm not, because it's hard to say it's gonna actually knock him out, right? Like who the fuck knows? But I'm calling Paddy's gonna land a lead leg high kick on Bobby Green, slap that foot off his head, off his beautiful bald head, and we'll see if he gets knocked out. I don't know, man, but yeah, I'm going with Paddy. I'm with Paddy. Let's see how it goes.
So this fight is yours next, my man. We got a huge favorite here in Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. Personally, I had Tom Aspinall in the last fight, bro. He injured his leg, and that fight, I believe I caught him at -110. Now we're talking about a -400 almost, I believe. So, what do you got on this one, man?
Bro, I'm just going to make it quick because I need to send this message. I'm sending someone an Uber right now, so I need to send it. But basically, I think Tom Aspinall's going to knock him out in round 1. I think he would have knocked him out in round 1 if the first fight went on for a position. So, yeah, went on for a longer time. I think that people got lucky betting on Curtis Blades last time out, and they're probably going to want to go back to the well, because I knew a lot of people on Curtis Blades last time out, and they're obviously all going to bet him again this week. And that's because his line is much wider, much higher. Now, if the fight gets outside of the first 2 rounds, Curtis Blades becomes a pick'em most likely, right? Because I still think Tom can knock him out at any point. It's just how often do you think he gets out of the first 2 rounds? To be honest, I don't think he does quite often. I mean, Tom hasn't been. I think Tom's average fight time is like 1.5 minutes. Like, Tom's fucking elite at fucking fighting, bro. I don't really have much more to say. I think that yeah, exactly. The fight was a pick 'em first time. Exactly. It's exactly what I said. A lot of people bet him first time, and then now they're going to bet him second time because he's a much better price, right? I think that the first line was completely crazy. I think this line is maybe a little bit wide just because, we haven't seen Tom go late, but I think Tom's going to knock him out, man. I don't want to keep repeating myself, bro. What do you think?
There's just too many questions on this fight to feel comfortable with Aspinall as that big of a favorite. Like, at the end of the day, he's never been past the 7-minute mark. He's never been put on his back by a wrestler like Blades. We could talk about all the BJJ that he has. We never seen him on his back. He's good on top. He's got attacks for submissions. Maybe he can even take down Curtis Blades here. I don't even count that out because we saw it with Cody East. Man. Yep. And Almeida.
Athletic guy, massive, huge athletic guy, of course.
The way he slipped that punch on Volkov too and just ducked under and caught right head to the armpit, shoulder to the armpit, put him right down. That was money. And honestly, I don't count that out as well. Just my worry is, like, how does he fare past the 7-minute mark? We saw him a little bit heavy breathing versus Arlovsky before he caught that sub. Blades is a high level of competition. He's been 5 rounds. He does have knockout losses. Some that are pretty bad, but they're versus, great power punchers like Ngannou, Pavlovich, etc. And I think a lot of people will be parlaying Tom. I don't think it's necessarily going to be everybody on Blades here. I tend to think at this point, I have to say Blades is a live underdog. I think, it has to be dog or pass here for me. Just due to all the questions on the Tom Aspinall side. In the first round, I think it's probably all Tom unless he's being put on his back, not able to get back up to the feet. But I don't think Curtis is a sub threat. And that's it, man. That's all I really got on this one. For me, it would be a dog or pass. Curtis Blades, I think, past the second round is like you said. I think he turns into the favorite. It's not just a pick 'em. I think
fair enough.
He's gonna have a lot of takedown success at that point in the fight if it gets there. If it gets there, big if. So Tom Aspinall, super talented, great boxer, obviously slick BJJ on top, but just a little bit too many questions for me to even feel comfortable betting on Aspinall. Do I want to dive in on the Blade side now? Do I want to take that shot? I haven't yet. I think that's where I'm at, man. Yeah,
man. I agree, to be honest. Like, yeah, one thing is my prediction, which is Tom knocking him out. Another thing is that -110 is a bad number the first time. I think that, I think the value's on Blades for sure. I'm not playing it because I don't think it's massive value. Honestly, I would make Tom like 75% or something like that. I personally would, right? Like, people are going to argue with that. That's fine. I just think he knocks him out early so often. It's heavyweight, right? It's heavyweight. He's knocked out everyone at heavyweight. Like, if it was flyweight, I wouldn't be saying 75% he finishes him in round 1 or 2. I think it's a very high number, but I still think it's a little bit wide. Like, -300 would probably be where I say no more now. Like, now you're going a bit crazy, right? And it's -500, bro. So, like, it's -410 now. Some money pretty sure money came back in on him. But yeah, that's it. I think.
Were you able to get that over, bro?
Yeah, well, I'm actually waiting on a reply.
Dude, you got to use the Juber app, bro. That's the way better one. A lot cheaper rides. You get picked up by a certified rabbi. He's kosher. Nah, I'm just messing with you. The Juber app, bro. I think that's the way you got to go. You can only pay in pennies, though. So, no, I'm just messing around, dude. At the end of the day, I think we talked about this fight pretty well. What are we going to do as the plus EV legs? We got to, I think, are we just going to not use this fight anyway? I think Blades is the plus EV side, personally, for me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't going to use it in my parlay.
Me either.
If you like Tom, you probably should just play Tom TKO, right?
I think he's live for a sub, too. Club and sub as well.
Then maybe play the under 1.5, which is the price.
Bingo.
Well, actually, it's a better price now, which it didn't used to be. So, yeah, I don't mind the under 1.5. Like, if Tom's winning, it's most likely under 1.5, right? I don't think he's ever been outside the 1.5 rounds in any of his wins. So,
his cardio could just be fine. Like, I could be like, it's just a question, right? Like, he
looked gassed against Arlovsky, but like, he probably would have recovered from that. Like, he looked gassed against Arlo, but that's because he went crazy in round 1 trying to knock him out. And then he looked gassed, but he still fucking tackled him like a motherfucker and then finished him with a submission. So I don't know how gassed he actually was.
On to the main event. This is probably going to be our favorite fight of the night. This is one of my favorite fights of the night. There's some beef going on between these guys. First fight, the last fight we talked about ended via injury. This fight ended via eye poke. But to be honest, in the fight, Leon Edwards looked like he was having success, looked like he was getting the better of Belal Muhammad. Does that necessarily equate to this fight? No, but it's an interesting spot. Do you want to take this one, my man, or do you want me to go?
Bro, please, you go.
So, guys, I think this line's probably accurate on a money line standpoint, personally. I think I give Leon probably about 70-30. I think he has the advantage on the feet. I think we've seen him against wrestlers as of recently. He's obviously improved in the grappling. I like how he fights the wrist on the cage, digs his underhooks. He's very good off the cage, using the head rip to get off the cage, using multiple outs. He even threatened ninja chokes against Colby Covington that forced Colby Covington to roll out of these ninja chokes. Even got takedowns on Colby Covington, got takedowns on Kamaru Usman, which is, not many people can say that they were able to do that. Both guys are on really good win streaks, but I tend to rate some of the more recent wins for Leon a bit better. Let's just talk about Belal's wins. Yeah, he beat Vicente Luque, but Luque did have moments in that fight, was able to even hurt Belal at certain points. Wonder Boy, super old, not he's got decent get-ups, but he can be taken down. We've seen that path there, and Belal was able to do that to him. But like I said, 40 years old on the Wonder Boy side. Sean Brady, Sean Brady in the desert was looking lost, getting pinged on the feet, couldn't get his takedowns going. Leon's obviously a way better striker. And then even in the last fight versus Burns clearly hurt his arm. Maybe that was due to a kick or something from Belal. Belal does have strong kicks on the outside, but I think if he's at kicking range here, bro, he's going to be getting picked apart to the legs, to the body. And I think the body and leg kicks could open up the high kick. We've seen Belal hit with the high kick by Jeff Neal, hit by Alan Jouban with the high kick. I think Leon, he's very good at how he sets that up, and he's constantly threatening kicks up the middle, knees up the middle to prevent, not prevent people from shooting takedowns, but they have to think twice. And he was even trying to initiate some grappling with Belal in the first fight. Sure, it was short notice, but he was pinging him left, right, center, bro. I think he's going to be pinging him left, right, center here on the feet. I think he's super live for a finish here as well inside the distance. 5 rounds is a long time. Unless Belal's having success. I don't want to say Belal's dead here because he's got great cardio. He's tend to have a good chin as of lately. He does get hurt, but he doesn't get finished. And, he could have wrestling success here. Obviously, Usman was able to take down Leon. A little bit of a weird fight before he got head kicked. But other than that, we haven't seen it as of late. We've seen Leon getting up back to his feet and back to the striking where he feels comfortable, and even trying to get on top of some of these guys in some of the scrambles. So even at a triangle armbar attempt, I believe, versus Colby, which was even close. This guy's throwing up subs left, right, center. So I tend to like Leon inside the distance here if I was going to play anything. Leon, maybe even club and sub is live. I know you like the KO. I think generally, I think it's more KO often than not. I think sub probably plus 1,200. So if you're getting anything better than that, maybe some value, but it's not by much. It's like plus 1,400 on most books. So I think that's accurate. I think the Leon line is accurate around 70-75%. We got to sit at like 70% right now, which is where I think it should be at, just because of all the advantages he has on the feet. He hasn't shown any real weaknesses in his last few fights. He's proven every single test that he's able to get it done, and he's even late in round 5 to get knockouts. So, I think he's the side here. I think he wins the fight at home, and I think he fights a either Islam Makhachev next or Shavkat.
Yeah, man, I agree, bro. I think Leon's going to probably finish him. Obviously, I could see a decision as well, Leon wins a lot of decisions. The thing is, Belal gets hurt in basically every single one of his losses and knocked out. That's what I keep seeing. I've seen him wobbled so many different times. I've even seen him wobbled in fights that he's won, like the Lyman Good fight. And then, like I said, every time he gets finished, every time he loses, he gets finished. And also, he gets rocked by head kicks, multiple times, which I've seen from Leon. And Leon even rocked him with one himself. It's just like a lot of signs are pointing towards Leon's going to hurt him. When it actually plays out in the cage, Leon's not this ferocious finisher that's going to finish everyone. So it most certainly could just be a Leon decision like it is in most of his fights. But, stylistically, I think Leon has more of a chance to finish this fight than he did against someone like Kamaru Usman or Colby Covington, to be honest, just stylistically. So I think Leon's the rightful favorite. I think he's going to win. I did a video on my Instagram and on my Twitter. I'm giving away, and listen to this one, boys. I'm giving away $2,500 for this fight. If Leon gets a finish, if Leon gets a knockout, then I'm going to give away $2,500 to someone who goes to the video, comments on the video, likes the video, as long as you're following me. That's it. That's all you need to do. So go on my Instagram and then go on my Twitter if you want double entry. And if Leon gets a knockout tonight, boys, I'm giving away that money. I always like to give away some money, do something fun. So, yeah, we'll see if he gets it. I'm actually picking something that I believe has a massive chance of happening. I'm not just saying, I ain't saying like, can't remember who it was, but someone always used to do, it might have been Carl Marley, but he used to do, shout out to Carl, I like Carl, but I think he just did it for fun. He used to do some bullshit where it was like, if what it would be like, if who's fighting? It would be something like if George Masvidal gets a submission over Damian tonight, I'll give away $100, just for some. Or it might have been Dan half the battle. I don't know, but I'm giving away 2.5 on something that I believe can definitely happen. My prediction is ultimately going to be Leon via knockout. But I am very close to changing a prediction to decision. I think it's very both are close. But yeah, I think the knockout is the one. I think the belt's coming back home to Birmingham again. It's in Manchester. I think that the crowd is going to be happy at the end of the night because I think they're going to see 2 champs remain champs and both champs get knockouts. I think tonight could be an electric night. I've got so many bets on the line. JB, I think this is my biggest card of all time. Ever, in terms of not only the amount of bets I have on the line, and not only the amount of money I have risked on the line, way over 100,000 at this point, probably 150. I'd have to tally it all up with the new bets I made about an hour ago. But not only with those 2 things, but also I'm basically betting on every single fight. So there's a couple of fights. I think there's 2 fights out of 14 that I have passed on. So I've bet on basically every single fight, so much money on the line. It could be a massive, massive weekend for me. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is for us both. If you want all of my picks and predictions, go to lucrativemmabetting.com and you get all of my picks for tonight's fights, all of my long shot parlays, all of my long shot props, etc., etc., etc. But that's it, man. Thanks for being on, bro. This is a return of the Parlay Madness, and we got to do one final thing before we go, which is give out the Parlay Madness, right? The Madness Parlay. So I don't know if you've cooked up your one already, but I'm going to let you give it out first if you have.
Sure.
To think about.
So do I do one safe one and one long shot, or just do the long shot?
I mean, I think just do one at the end. But
Okay.
if you want to, no, go and do that if you want. One safe, one
I
wrong.
know that people do like the parlay 7 kind of parlay, like the money line parlay. I've gotten a few comments about that. A lot of people like that one, especially since we hit that plus 3,005. But I
Yeah.
have to give out the JB special because I know that's what the people come for. And yeah, I don't have a lot of bets on this card, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit the opposite of you. I think I got 2 or 3 bets on this one. So that's maybe that'll change after this podcast. I'm about to definitely go put in these parlays. Man, but long shot here. 2 props that I'm going to take. We're looking at Shauna Bannon. We're going to go with the SBG crew, right? I think we go with Shauna Bannon, round 2 or 3 sub. I think that's paying like, I think it's plus 1,600 on FanDuel. And I'm going to go with Kiefer Crosby to get the round 1 knockout at plus 1,100. So I'll add that up real quick while you give out your parlay. Yeah, plus 1,600, plus 1,100. You guys do the math, and that's going to get you some crazy money, bro. If that hits tonight, we all eating, baby.
All right. Nah, bruv. No way I'm changing the name. That's the epic name. First of all, we're giving out 30 parlay legs. So that's still madness right there. Unless you want me to change it to parlay leg madness, which doesn't have the same ring to it. I'm not going to do it. And we're giving out a madness parlay right to the end. Crazy mad parlay. So that's definitely not changing the name. And also, I can't be fucked to do all of that. So, all right, let me just get the odds up for my one now.
Okay.
Do yours first. Go on, do yours first, bro.
Wait, for what? The parlay? The odds?
Tell them the odds, yeah.
Oh, I don't have a phone with me. You'd have to do it. It's plus 1,600 and plus 1,100 for the. So it's Bannon 2-3 sub, cardio edge, Elise dumps, big grappling edge on the mat. Then for Bannon, she gets the submission, and I think Patterson's weak chin, huge parlay liability for the books. I think Kiefer just comes in and sweeps it up with a KO 1, baby, plus 1,100. That's his path. So what?
I'm liking it, bro.
One book, and they're both from SBG, by the way. That's a little. Well, got the SBG JB special, and the thing is too with Kiefer, like I just think that's his win condition. We're talking about Bet Online got it at plus 650, and some other books you could still scrape that value. You know what I'm saying?
All right, bro. I'm gonna get it. Someone do the calculation. Plus 16 and plus 11.
I can try it real quick. Hold on.
I'm gonna see what we got here.
I got it. Hold on.
Got it, bro.
Plus 1,600 on the 2-3 sub, and then plus 1,100, and I'll hit on the prelims if it does hit. That is plus 20,300. So you can put $1 on that, guys, and win 203.
All right, so I'm gonna go with. Are you? Can you calculate the odds?
It's plus 20,300.
Can you calculate the odds for me?
Yeah, for you, yeah, I can.
All right, so I'm going with Arnold Allen inside the distance plus 300.
Okay.
Next one we'll go with is Rodriguez Duncan under 1.5 rounds. It's moved now, plus 125.
Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's plus 800 so far, brother.
Yeah. And then we're going to add Leon Edwards to win via knockout at plus 250.
At plus 250, bro, I think there's some books that are offering KO or sub at the same price. So just everybody keep that in mind. I know you like the KO, but that's plus 3050, bro. Plus 3050.
Yeah, that's clean, bro.
Sheesh.
So 3,050, yeah?
Yeah, 3050.
And the last one that was 3,005 here.
I know. You just got to switch a little number.
Do you know what? That might be the one, boys. Arnold Allen, KO. So 3,000. We got plus 3,000 it.
Well, it's Arnold ITD, I thought, for Allen.
Sorry. ITD.
Yeah.
Leon KO plus 250. And what was the other one? G-Rod.
Yeah, no. Right. The under
145 plus one, under 1.5 plus 125. Okay,
nice.
Clean. That's it, boys. Done. And tell me your one because I'm gonna put it right after this. Bannon 2-3.
The SBG JB special.
Yeah.
Shauna Bannon round 2 or 3 sub plus 1,600.
Yeah.
Kiefer Crosby by round 1 knockout plus 1100. That's on FanDuel Sportsbook. That will get you a nice plus 20,300. And if you guys want more parlays, we have them on James. He has a paid service. You go get the parlays there as well. We'll have money line parlays, long shot parlays as well. Just do the searching. You can also follow me on Twitter at MMA Line Mover.
Yeah, you got your shit as well, right, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With parlays as well. I will be building parlays, and I will be going to bet these right now.
All right, good stuff, man. Well, good to have you back, bro. We done it in 2 hours. Good to be back. I've been traveling, but I managed to get this one in, man, and it was a good time, bro. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I'll be back again some point in the future. We'll try and do it next week, but who the fuck knows when we're going to be back. But I'll do my best to make it next week. JB will do his best, and we'll see.
Let's go, guys. Peace.